Alright, welcome dear students of 9th standard. We are going to talk about Maths 1, chapter number 5, linear equation in two variables. So before moving to chapter, actually we are going to talk about the basic thing which is required to move ahead in the chapter, and that is nothing but the concept of different types of algebraic terms. Okay, so we are having two types of different algebraic terms. One is the CVP. Okay, now what do you mean by CVP? Let me tell you. C stands for coefficient, V stands for variable, and P stands for power. So I will write here C stands for coefficient. I will write in short in order to make the video short. V stands for variable and P stands for power. So I will quickly give you some examples of this type of algebraic term. If I am writing 6y square, that means here the 6 is my coefficient, y is my variable, and 2 is my power. Okay, now if I am using, suppose if I will write this thing 7x, so here the 7 is the coefficient, x is the variable, and there is nothing written over here at the place of power, so by default I will accept it as 1. And guys, always remember there is a hidden multiplication, between coefficient and the variable. Coefficient and variable के बीच में क्या रहेगा? Hidden multiplication. Suppose if I'm writing only z over here, so this z is not having the coefficient, it's not having the power, so by default we will accept the power as well as the coefficient as 1. Power will be 1 as well as the coefficient will be also 1. So these are the few basic examples of this type of algebraic term, that is the CVP. Okay, if I would like to tell you some more details about the validation of CVP, then the coefficient can be any real number. Coefficient can be any real number, as well as your power can be any real number. Okay, power can be any real number, and at the place of variable there will be alphabets. Okay, now quickly there will be few students who may not get what do you mean by real numbers. So let me tell you, there are 5 different types of numbers will be there. There are some positive numbers, there are some negative numbers, there is a 0, there is a positive fraction, and there is a negative fraction. So the whole bunch of these 5 types of different numbers will be considered as real numbers. Okay, alright, now this is about the first type of algebraic term, and the second algebraic term is the C, that is the constant term or constant number. And as we all know that constant number can be, again, it can be any real number. Okay, it can be anything from this bunch of 5 numbers. It can be a positive number, it can be a negative number, it can be a 0, it can be a positive fraction, it can be a negative fraction. Okay, that's what you mean by real number. Now let's talk about the name of chapter. The name of chapter is linear equation. Okay, linear equation in two variables. So what do you mean by this? First of all, let's try to understand what do you mean by equation. So guys, equation is nothing but LHS is equal to RHS. Okay, the equation, the basic structure of equation is LHS, that is the left hand side, and there is a RHS, right hand side, and there will be a is equal to sign in between them. Okay, now what will be on LHS and what will be on RHS? Let me simplify for you people. So the LHS may have different algebraic terms like this, anything from these two types, CVP and C, and even RHS will also have the different algebraic terms, CVP or C. But what we try to do what we are going to try to do throughout this entire chapter is we will try to keep the CVP type of terms on LHS. Okay, CVP, the variable terms on LHS, and we will try to keep the constant terms. We will try to keep the constant terms on RHS. In short, the variable terms on one side and the constant terms, the constant numbers on either side. Okay, this should not be on the one side. This is the basic rule of solving the equations. Okay. All right, so this is what do you mean by equation. Now let's try to figure out what do you mean by linear equation. What do you mean by linear equation? Okay, now guys, if I'm writing these two terms over here, 3x plus 5y is equals to 7. Okay, now there is this something called as degree. Okay, now degree means what? I will simply tell you, degree means what? The highest power present in equation. It is the highest power present in equation. So let's try to figure out the powers of the various terms. So this is the very first term, we are having 3x. This is the second term, we are having 5y. Alright, and this is the third term, which is the 7. Now if I will ask you to segregate these terms in these two types, then you will do this kind of segregation. You say this is the variable attached term, so that's why this will belongs to CVP type of term. This is again the variable attached term, so this will belong to the CVP type of term. And this is your constant number, so this will belong to the C. Okay, like I told you, there are only two types of algebraic terms. There are only two types of algebraic terms. Okay, CVP and C. All right, now what you will ask is, what is the power? Like I have explained in the example, one of the example, like this x was not having the power. This x was not having the power initially, so by default we accepted the power as 1. In the same way, this x is not having power, this y is not having the power, so by default we will accept the powers as 1. And guys, always remember the constant term. Okay, the constant term has power 0. The constant term has power 0. Okay, now there is a different thing I need to explain why and so on, but I will not explain in this video to make it unnecessarily elongated. So for this instance, you guys are going to remember the constant number. I will explain you in another video, but at this instance the constant number is having power 0. Okay, now you can tell me what is the degree of this equation, what is the highest power present in the equation. And what you will notice, there is no power greater than 1. There is no power present which is greater than 1. So basically the 1 is highest power present in the equation, and that's why the degree of the equation is 1. The degree of equation is 1, and the equations with degree 1 is called as linear equation. It's called as linear equation. So that is the basic definition of the linear equation. That linear equation has the degree 1. The highest power present in the equation will be always 1. Okay, and now let's try to understand this why two variable is over there. Since you can see there are two variables involved, there is one x and there is one y. Now you guys must have studied the equation in one variable in your standard 8, right, where you must have encountered this kind of problems where there was only one variable, right? So this is simply two variable means what? There will be two different terms carrying the two different variables, x and y, a and b, m and n, and so on. So this is what the basic understanding about the name of chapter. Okay, now if you will keep your textbook with yourself, so you will find in 5.1, guys, we are talking about the 9th standard maths 1 5.1. so in that case the very first question is, it's quite simple actually. By using variables x and y, you can keep your textbook with yourself. Using variables x and y, form any 5 linear equations. So like I told you, if you want to create the linear equation, the one thing that you have to maintain is you have to keep the degree 1. You have to keep the degree 1. Okay, so you can basically choose anything, any coefficient you can choose. You can choose the different signs as well. You can take different constant terms as well. Okay, these are the few equations I'm writing. These are the linear equations. Now specifically again, let me tell you why these are the linear equations, because these all equations, at least two equations I have written over here, these are having the degree 1. These are having the degree 1. And what do you mean by degree? The highest power present in the equation, like I have explained you before. Now you cannot see any power greater than 1 over here. And as I told you, there is a constant term, but the constant term, what I told you is, the constant term will have power 0. The constant term will have power 0. Okay, so you can create the other equations by just changing the coefficients all the time. You can change these three things. Basically the three things you can keep on changing: the coefficient of x, this is the coefficient of x, this is the coefficient of y. Okay, this thing you can change anything if you want, this thing you can change anything you want, the constant term also you can change. Okay, these are the three things you can change, as well as, let me tell you, this is the sign. Basically this is the sign of the coefficient of y, so you can change that thing also. So if I will write this thing, yeah, so this is the another example of linear equation in two variable. So these are the three examples I have written for you. You can create as many as you want. This was about your question number 1. Now the question number 2 is, it's again a very quite simple question. Now hold on to this particular video, because these are the rules for solving the linear equation in two variable. Alright, so that part we are going to see in the question number 3, and this is very essential because the same chapter is there in your 10th standard. Okay, now without wasting time, let's go to the question number 2. The question number 2 is, write 5 solutions. Write 5 solutions for this equation. Okay, now guys, let me tell you what do you mean by solutions. This new word for you guys. Solutions means what? As we all know that x and y, these are the variables, right? So this x and y will have certain numerical values. In future when we will solve them, we are going to get some numerical values at the place of x and y. Suppose if I will solve this and I will get 2 and 3, let's just example I am telling you, 2 and 3. So x is equals to 2 and y is equals to 3. It means these are the solutions. Okay, 2 is the solution of x and 3 is the solution of y. So this is what the basic meaning of the solutions. Okay, anyways, so what they're asking us to find the solution for x plus y is equals to 7. So what I need to do simply is I will do this x, I will do this y. Okay, or let me tell you in another simple way, I will assume a value to x, I will assume any random value to x, and I will find the corresponding value of y. Let's see how to do it. If I will assume the value of x is 1, okay, I am assuming it. Okay, textbook has not given any value, so I am assuming the value of x, and for the x is equals to 1, I will find the corresponding value of y. Let's see how. I need to simply put this value at the place of x, because this is what I have assumed. So 1 will come over here, 1 plus y is equals to 7. And guys, there is a basic thing you need to remember as well, always, is the variable. Okay, the variable of which the value you need to find. Okay, the unknown variable you have to keep on one side, you have to keep it alone, you have to make it alone. Okay, try to make it alone, try to keep it alone. No one should appear along with your unknown variable. So what this 1 is doing with the y, send the 1 on that side. So this 1 which was plus over here, it will go over there and it will become minus. So now the answer is y is equals to 7 minus 1, that is nothing but 6. So these are the solutions for the one I assumed and the second I got after the solving. So this is the one solution basically I am having. In the same way, I can, you can assume the different values. You can also assume the negative values. Let's try to solve by a negative value. I'm assuming here x is equals to -2, okay, and let's see what y will come. So at the place of x I will simply put -2. At the place of x I will be putting -2, and this thing will come. Then okay, what is the basic thing? The unknown variable should be alone. The unknown variable should be alone. What this -2 is doing here? Send it over there, because y is saying leave me alone. The unknown variable is simply saying leave me alone. This -2 will come here as +2, and this y will become 7 plus 2 is 9. So this is how the two examples I have given you. You can find as many as solutions you want. What you need to do, assume the value of x of anything from your mind and put the value of x and get the value of corresponding y. Alright, and now the time has come to solve the simultaneous equation. This is the main thing we are going to do. Let's see, this is our first equation. We are talking about the question number 3 that we are having. The very first equation right in front of you, x plus y is equals to 4 and 2x minus 5 is equals to 1. Now guys, let me tell you one thing. These are the simplified rules for you. You will not find these rules in any textbook, okay, at least the board textbook, okay, but these are the rules which are made by me, and let's see how can we take the help of these rules. So guys, first of all, let's try to understand solving the equation means what. Like I told you earlier, solving equations means what? Getting the numerical values of x and y. Getting the numerical values of x and y. Okay, this is the meaning of solving equation. Alright, now let's see the rule one by one, or you can also call them as steps. Okay, the very first step is, here is the step: decide any one variable which you want to cancel first. Okay, now guys, these are the universal rules. That's why it will not be like, yeah, now the sir will choose y only, okay, sir will not go for x. This is not the thing. Okay, you can choose any variable you want to cancel first. These rules are going to work with any variable, any variable. Okay, now just to simplify your work, what I'm doing is I'm choosing the y. Okay, decide any one variable which you want to cancel first. So I'm choosing y to cancel first. Okay, chalo, this I have decided. This is my step 1 is done. Now see, the second step is what? Check the coefficient. The second step is about the coefficients. Check coefficients of that chosen variable from both equations. Now guys, you have to check only coefficients. Do not check along with sign, because there is a separate rule for sign. So just check the numerical value of coefficient of the chosen variable. This is the chosen variable. Why? If they are same, here we are. If they are same, go to the next step. But if they are not same, make them same by multiplication. Now check here. What is the coefficient of y in the first equation? It is 1. I told you, not with the sign, only numbers. The coefficient of y is 1. The coefficient of y is 5 in the second equation. So but obviously they are not same. They're not same, right? So we have to make them same by multiplication. And how we are going to do that? It's a very simple thing, guys. It's a very simple thing. I cannot convert this 5 into 1. Okay, phi के I will switch my language little to Hindi in order to make you understand in better way कि phi के टेबल में 1 आता नहीं है, ठीक है। अभी हमारे पास कुछ बुद्धिजीवी लोग होते हैं तो उनको मैं बता दूं कि हाँ, phi को अगर हम लोग ने 1/5 से मल्टीप्लाई किया तो आंसर 1 आ सकता है, बट आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू गो बाय एनी डिफिकल्ट वे। जितना हो सके उतना हम लोग इजी वे से जाएंगे, ठीक है। तो मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ चीज़ की, दोनों का हम लोग ने कोएफिशिएंट चेक किया, ओके। नाउ phi के टेबल में 1 आता नहीं है, phi के टेबल में 1 आता नहीं है, बट गाइज वी कैन कन्वर्ट दिस 1 इनटू phi। हाउ? वी कैन सिंपली मल्टीप्लाई दिस 1 बाय phi। We can simply multiply this 1 by phi and thereafter it will convert into phi. So what I need to do here is just to multiply this thing by phi. But the rule is guys कि एक टर्म को मल्टीप्लाई करके चलेगा नहीं, मतलब खाली इसी टर्म को phi से मल्टीप्लाई करके चलेगा नहीं, अगर मल्टीप्लाई करना है तो पूरे इक्वेशन को करना पड़ेगा। So the next immediate step that we will do is multiply equation number 1 by phi, okay। Now let's see, we will first again write that equation and then we will multiply on both sides. This is how we are going to multiply. So here phi into x, that will become phi x, then phi into y. These are the basic things. 5 4s are 20. Now this is the new equation that we are getting here, so we will immediately name it as equation number 3, okay। सीक्वेंस में जैसे जैसे इक्वेशन नए इक्वेशन जैसे मिलते जाएंगे वैसे हम लोग सीक्वेंस में उसका नंबरिंग करते जाएंगे। सो दिस इज द इक्वेशन नंबर 3। नाउ वी वेर ऑलरेडी हैविंग दिस इक्वेशन नंबर 2, करेक्ट है, okay। So now let's solve this equation number 3 and 2, okay। I will not repeat this equation number 1 again, simple, because I have modified the equation number 1 into the equation number 3, correct है। So now I will only consider equation number 3 and 2, okay। And now you check out the coefficients of chosen variable. This is the variable that we have chosen in the first step. I want to cancel the y first. I don't want to see the y. I want to cancel the y first. So that's why I check the coefficient as well, and now the coefficients are same. So I can go to the step 3. Let's go to the step 3, and this step 3 is about the process. Let's see. If signs are not same, add equations. If signs are same, subtract equations. Now see the sign, this is the plus and this is the minus, means what? Signs are not same, so we have to add the equation. So we will simply, where's the cursor? Oops, okay. So we will simply add equation number 3 and 2. So let's do the quick addition. 5x plus 5y, and here 2x minus 5y, and if I will add this thing, the addition or subtraction will be taking place with your coefficients. So 5 plus 2, that becomes 7x, plus 5 minus 5, that is going to get cancelled, so you will get a 0 over here, correct, and 20 plus 1, that is the 21. So you see the variable which I decided to cancel first, now this has got cancelled. The y is eliminated from the equation, and now my equation in 2 variable has become the equation in 1 variable, and I can easily find the value of x now by sending the 7 is in hidden multiplication with x. So when the 7 will go over there, it will become 21 upon 7, and that will give me the answer 7 3s are 21. So guys, this is the first value that we got, the value of x as 3, the value of x as 3. Now let's see in the next step how to find the value of the second variable. Now as you can see, we got the value of one variable, and now we are going for the other value, that is the value of x. Now guys, I can use any one equation from the set of equations, and I will advise you to choose the simplest equation, okay. And as you can see, the simplest equation is equation number 1, right? The simplest equation is equation number 1. So what we are going to do is put x is equals to 3 in equation 1. Put x is equals to 3 in equation 1. So I'm going to write that equation again, in which I'm going to put the value. This is the standard way of representation. At the place of x, I'm going to write 3. Okay, this is the thing which we have done earlier. And now again the equation has become an equation in one variable. So to find the value of y, we will send the 3 on that side. 4, this is the plus over here, this will become minus over here. So 4 minus 3, that becomes 1. So this is the another numerical value of variable y is nothing but 1. So these are the two variables and the numerical values for that. So this is how we have solved the equation, and I hope that you must have understood how to use the rules. We'll see in the upcoming sums.